watching two internal compliance inspectors search my cubicle while I stood in the break room holding half a turkey sandwich was not how I expected my Tuesday to go. They were snapping photos of my computer monitor and wearing rubber gloves as they pulled open my desk drawers. I walked over and asked if they found anything interesting, keeping my voice completely steady even as my rival stood nearby pretending to file folders while watching my downfall. The lead inspector explained they received serious reports about my unprofessional conduct and workspace violations. I knew right away who filed those charges. Her name was Kendra Miller, and she arrived 6 months after me with a deep desire to take over my high-value client account. She could not stand that I achieved great results without bragging, so she spent months watching my schedule and taking notes on everything I did during the day. To give Kendra something to focus on, I began dropping tiny meaningless breadcrumbs for her to find. I would type Thursday instead of Friday in draft memos, then correct it an hour later. I would temporarily misfile a client document before moving it to the right place the following morning. Kendra devoured these tiny details and created a thick folder on her computer titled Performance Documentation, believing she was building an airtight legal case to destroy my career. While Kendra built a prosecution file, I started writing a daily gratitude journal in a small leather notebook in my drawer. Every evening before going home, I recorded 3 positive interactions from my workday. I wrote about a client who expressed appreciation for my help, or a coworker who offered guidance on a complex software update. It was a personal exercise to stay grounded and focused on the good moments in a demanding corporate environment. Over 18 months, my journal filled up with hundreds of entries describing kindness and teamwork. I noted how Julian from accounting stayed late to help me decipher billing figures, and how Samantha from human resources brought coffee for everyone during early budget meetings. When I reviewed my notes, a clear pattern emerged. Over 60 colleagues appeared repeatedly for their helpful acts, but Kendra Miller was never mentioned even once because she had never done a single kind thing. Eventually Kendra made her move by taking her folder of manufactured evidence to our supervisor and demanding an immediate workplace audit. She requested that compliance search my desk while I was away at lunch so I could not hide any proof. That was why 2 officers were going through my belongings while Kendra watched from across the floor, eager to see me escorted out of the building by security guards before the end of the day. The shorter officer opened my top drawer and pulled out my leather notebook, asking what it contained. I told him it was just personal notes about my daily work experiences. He opened the pages and began reading silently before gesturing to his partner. Both inspectors sat down at my desk and spent 20 full minutes studying every entry carefully, while the rest of the floor grew quiet and watched the scene unfold with intense curiosity. When they finished reading, the lead inspector asked how long I had kept the record and if the statements were genuine. I confirmed that every entry was an honest recollection of positive moments that helped me appreciate my job. The inspectors exchanged a long look, stood up, and asked Kendra to join them in a private conference room. Through the glass walls, we watched her confident smile vanish as panic slowly took over her face during 30 intense minutes. When the meeting ended, the inspectors returned to my desk and officially closed the investigation, confirming there were no policy violations or performance errors. They then pointed out a fascinating detail in my journal. Out of hundreds of entries documenting 63 helpful colleagues, Kendra Miller was the only person never mentioned once. They noted how ironic it was that she spent months recording my small mistakes while completely ignoring her own total lack of positive contribution. The following morning Kendra returned to her desk, completely stripped of her usual arrogant demeanor. She worked in total silence without making loud phone calls or offering unsolicited advice. However, 3 days later, Julian from accounting warned me that Kendra was starting a fresh campaign against me. She was approaching co-workers in the break room, claiming my journal was a creepy surveillance file that violated employee privacy and documented people without their consent or knowledge. Kendra was trying to spin my positive habit into a sinister privacy violation to make people doubt my intentions. Instead of getting defensive or complaining to management, I decided to address the situation with complete openness. I sent an email to the entire department explaining my gratitude notebook, assuring everyone it was purely personal, and offering an opt-out option for anyone who preferred not to have their positive acts noted in my private journal. Within hours, my inbox filled with supportive messages from every corner of the company. Co-workers expressed enthusiasm for the idea and thanked me for recognizing their efforts, while several managers asked for advice on starting similar positivity routines. 36 people sent warm responses encouraging me to continue, while Kendra remained the only person who did not reply at all. Her silence highlighted her inability to engage with genuine kindness or celebrate team culture. Over the next few weeks, a subtle transformation took place across our entire floor. People began leaving thank you notes on desks, bringing snacks for shared projects, and starting morning meetings by highlighting team achievements. As appreciation became the new standard, the negative attitude of Kendra became glaringly obvious to everyone. Her forced compliments sounded hollow, her attempts at gratitude were selfish, and her habit of undermining colleagues stood out like a sore thumb in our supportive environment. A month later, our supervisor called me into his office to discuss team morale. He thanked me for inspiring a healthier workplace culture and explained that observing these positive dynamics helped management identify toxic behavior patterns. He revealed that Kendra had been transferred to an isolated department where individual performance mattered more than team collaboration. Her own attempt to destroy my career had ultimately forced management to examine her behavior and place her where she could no longer cause harm. 2 months after the transfer of Kendra, she requested a permanent relocation to a regional branch in another state to make a fresh start. I wished her well, understanding that her toxic behavior stemmed from deep insecurity rather than genuine malice toward me. My gratitude journal remained on my desk, serving as a reminder that responding to hostility with quiet authenticity and positive focus will always create a mirror that exposes toxic behavior without ever needing to seek revenge.